People tend to get really confused and kerfuffled whenever I mention self-love, whenever I mention self-care and turning loving attention inward toward our soul. They get confused and think I am talking about the sinful root and the sinful tree, and as if to give our sinful identity the attention and the self-care, and take it in the meaning of selfishness. I want to try and explain the difference that most are not aware of because their awareness is asleep. When we are not awakened to our soul, we are asleep in our ego, and we will live completely selfish without a conscious thought. Our behavior will be unconscious, selfish behavior because the ego mind responds to an unhealed soul, an unhealed, traumatized soul that subconsciously feels inadequate, feels insecure, feels ashamed, feels of having no identity. And because of this subconscious, unconscious soul resonance, our ego will sleepwalk through life and basically lives in perpetual selfishness. What do I mean by that? Let me try and make you aware. Everything that we do in our unconscious sleep state, an ego-driven state, is selfish. Whether we marry in life, whether we seek that successful career, whether we go to church, all of these unconscious acts are selfish acts. And it is meant to fulfill a lack and a need that we feel deep down in the soul but are not consciously aware of. So therefore, every human being that is asleep and living from their sleeping ego is living a selfish, self-absorbed life. That is selfishness. When I speak of self-care, that is to the awakened soul, the awakened psyche. Once you are awakened, that you have a soul, a psyche, that is filled with trauma, that has the traumatic wounds of shame, guilt, rejection, and abandonment, and basically feels empty and is empty, is an empty identity. Once you are awake and aware to that, you are actually you are able to control your ego, and you are no longer walking through life like a sleepwalking zombie. conducting yourself in selfishness, in sleepwalking selfishness. You are now awake to the needs of your soul. And in order to remedy that emptiness, that void that we feel unconsciously and subconsciously, now that we are awake, we can turn toward the soul and give it the needed nurture to transmute and change the void and emptiness and the lack and the need into fullness, into abundance and satisfaction, fulfillment, and we will become different people. We will not go through life sleepwalking and selfishly pursuing unconsciously all the stuff that is meant to fill this bottomless pit. Our career and our marriage and having children, all of that does not fulfill the unconscious, subconscious lack in the soul. And the soul will only be cured and healed through being awakened to its need and then consciously meeting that need through self-acceptance, self-love, self-validation, self-approval, none of which are selfish, but this is the cure to the unconscious selfish life that we all live. That is the cure, giving the devotion and the attention to the soul that lives in the identity of deficit because of childhood trauma is the best thing you can ever do for yourself. If you happen to awaken to that layer and aspect of your being. So I hope this helps explain and makes you understand what I am talking about and what the difference is between selfishness and self-care. They're not the same. The difference is one is an unconscious state of being and the other is an awakened conscious state of being.